Well, the 2024 MLB draft is in the books, everybody, and we're going to look at the Cubs picks 1 through 20, what they took, the direction that we think that this draft is leading the organization, and we'll talk about some of the guys that stand out, positions of need, and how this group might help the Cubs win a World Series. I think that's supposed to be the reason that you do everything in baseball, to put a ring on your finger, to get a pennant up, right? Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Get in the comments section. Love to hear from you guys. Tell me what you thought of the draft. It's always a winning draft until it's not a winning draft anymore. But I got to tell you, credit to the scouting departments. A lot of hard work amateur scouting is. I mean, you're talking about going all over the country, seeing guys play over and over and over again, and then trying to figure out who fits what your manager wants, what your organization wants. And I give those guys a ton of credit for all the hard work. All right, let's get this thing started. Like and subscribe again, and thank you for being here. Go Cubs. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball channel. Let's do our Cubs draft recap. And guys, appreciate y'all being here. Let me throw it up on the screen. MLB.com has it 1 through 20. And the thing that stands out to me, this is the first 8 picks that you can see, is that first off, the Cubs took 2 pitchers in the top 10. They took a lot of infielders, including with their first couple of picks. Now, we talked about Cam Smith out of Florida State, power hitter, someone who had a really great season, kind of turned it around. He was a sophomore that was draft eligible, and the Cubs took him with the pick. He said his grandmother was a Cubs fan. I'm sure she loved Harry and Steve, right? Watching them. And maybe she liked, watching Jack Brickhouse and the gang back then on TV. But a lot of Cubs fans from everywhere. Obviously, this is a guy that the Cubs feel really good about. Third baseman by trade. Now, the second pick was another guy listed as a third baseman, Cole Mathis, who's out of the College of Charleston. What does all of this mean? Well, talking about Cam Smith, he's a 21-year-old. They think that he can play third base. Obviously, they're looking at the fact that he's a college bat, hoping that he moves through the system and catches up with the Owen Caseys and the Pete Crow Armstrongs and can help this team win soon, right? Cole Mathis, another third baseman listed, really was a two-way player at College of Charleston, which, by the way, is a really good baseball school. But eventually people say, well, he plays first base. He could play the outfield and, maybe not pitch as much, but you never know. It just has a really good swing. And I think that that's one of the reasons that the Cubs felt like they wanted to get him. Now, the youngest guy they drafted was with their third pick out of Miami Christian School. He was actually a commitment to the University of Miami. And we're talking about 17-year-old Ronnie Cruz. So for Cruz, you're talking about that Miami area, grew up a huge baseball fan, wanted to emulate guys like Manny Machado, Francisco Lindor, has that Dominican heritage. And they love baseball in the Dominican Republic. So born there, but in Miami. And the Cubs, obviously with their third round pick, the 90th overall, we're really excited to get someone that brings a lot of tools to the table. He's a thin guy, it's 17, but they're hoping that he can grow into that frame and, and maybe be someone who is, like a Manny Machado. Who knows? But those guys, they seem to really breed excellent baseball players and shortstops out of that Miami area. Now, the fourth pick the Cubs have was Ty Salsanese out of Nevada. This is a player who brings a ton of energy to the field. And the people that I know said, hey, man, you're going to love this guy just because he is a one of those baseball guys who loves the game, absolutely loves playing the game of baseball. It's infectious, brings that type of of energy to the field. And what's really funny is that our friend Mike Bryant, who is Chris Bryant's dad, actually worked with him at his hitting facility. The same guy that taught Chris Bryant. He's been working with him for 9 years. So congratulations to him. Pretty excited. Now, this is a position, the fifth pick the Cubs have, that had anyway, Ariel Armas, who I figured they would probably take a catcher earlier. And maybe some of these guys that they take as shortstops, they convert to catcher, but they need help behind the plate. I think all of baseball does. He was the catcher at the University of San Diego and was a great pitch framer, was a Gold Glove winning catcher, and he's someone that they hope will be able to continue to hit. He batted under 300, but just barely, like 298. A little bit of power, a good eye. But really, with the situation that the Cubs have right now, catching wise in their system, this could be a guy who could shoot right up through the system. But the Cubs going on to the West Coast with their fifth and sixth pick, and their sixth pick out of University of Cal Santa Barbara is Ryan Gallagher. And their sixth pick was actually their first pitcher that they selected. So here's a guy who missed the 2023 season due to surgery, had that Tommy John, but then bounced back and ended up with a 10-1 record and a 2.22 ERA. He has a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, but it's more than just velo with Gallagher. They say he can really pitch, and I think that that's a theme that we're seeing with the Cubs. And maybe not get as many throwers, but get some guys that can actually go out there and pitch. And we stay right there at the University of Cal Santa Barbara with the seventh pick. Now, how odd is that? But Ivan Brethrow was a power hitting outfielder. He had 26 home runs in 96 games for UCSB, UC Santa Barbara, and was first team All Big West. This is a guy that can hit bombs. And, the theme of this draft is that the Cubs are looking for guys that can hit. So Ivan Bretauer was the pick. I think I mispronounced his name. I do apologize. Anyway, heading to the Cubs with that seventh pick is Bretauer, who is from the same school as Gallagher. Maybe they'll both get to the big leagues on the same day. That'd be cool. Then Louisiana, small baseball school, but a baseball school nonetheless. The Cubs take Edgar Alvarez, who is the first baseman, another really good hitter, great contact ability, and someone who the Cubs hope can get up there and at 23 years old make an impact on this roster. And I love the idea of taking first baseman, because I felt like the Cubs really didn't have a lot of first basemen in their system there for a while. And I felt like it was like, well, they have Rizzo, but what if something happened to Rizzo? Or what about when they didn't sign Rizzo? So love taking catchers, love taking first baseman. I think that they're both important positions. And I know a lot of people will say, well, anybody can play first base. I doubt that. I don't think that's true at all. I think that it takes someone that's really good defensively to play first base, because they save the rest of the infield if they're able to pick the ball. And when you got a bad first baseman, it's like having a bad catcher. You don't appreciate it until you're watching a guy run and pick up balls all over the field. Was Brooks Capel with the ninth pick in the first round out of Lamar University in Texas, a right-handed pitcher, big guy, the Southland Conference Player of the Year. He can throw upper 90s, got a lot of heat on the fastball. And, I'm sure that there's some stuff that he could work on. But look, this is a guy that they're hoping can come out there and, and basically take advantage of that power and contribute to the big leagues. The 10th pick for them was Matt Hallback of University of Cal San Diego. So a lot of the picks the Cubs had were from the West Coast. Another third baseman, someone that had a great season in the Cape Cod League last year. And that gives scouts a little bit of comfort just because it's like, hey, I see what a guy can do with a wood bat, and it makes a difference. I mean, the aluminum, the ball travels different than it does with the wood bat. So, here you go with this group of guys who are all pretty big, which is pretty funny. You run through the list and it's like 6'3", 6'1", 6'2". Now, 5'9", right, with Saucini, but then 6 foot, 6'4", 6'6", 6'4", 6'6", 6'3". So they said they're gonna prioritize size with with this year's draft. So that runs you through the first 10 picks. And then you kind of go through again and you see, a lot more college guys being taken. How about back to Grand Canyon University for the 12th pick? That's the same school that they got Hayden McGarry out of, who's one of their top minor leaguers. So, hey, you had success there. And then the back of this draft, and we talked about it before, we're going to get into more in more depth on another video, but it's pretty much all pitching. And you hope that maybe you can find some guys in that draft, and they do all the time. Hayden Frank out of Lipscomb University in Tennessee. Maybe he's a guy that can help you out. Christian Gordon from VCU. Ben Johnson from Georgia Southern. You go out there and you try to find arms that are able to get to the big leagues. And the Cubs obviously have had an issue with relief pitching, and that's something that they would really like to improve on. So anyway, that's where we are right now. That's the draft. Tim Wilkin will be on. We'll get into this with more depth as things progress. We took a look at the top 10 picks. And then, what I'm thinking is, we'll kind of keep hitting on this until the games start back up again. But hope things are going good for you guys. Again, in the comment section, tell me what you think. Any feeling on the direction that this draft went. And it's hard to tell in baseball. It's not like the NFL where you watch college football. It's on TV all the time. College baseball isn't as easy to find, especially with some of the smaller schools. So the SEC. You can catch some Big Ten, you can catch some Big 12, some ACC, but outside of that, it's these guys, these scouts that are on the ground and going to all these different schools to kind of figure it out. So that's where we are. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and we will talk to you again soon. Go Cubs.